Because what you've seen, look at just the continuation of what we have seen of security forces. Heron collision. It was another Heron collision, and sadly we have lost no less than 4 lives in that accident. And among the deceased is a child 4 months old. The minister is going to take the record in no minute from now. And when any other day, no intervention, no what is coming to us. And people have lost lives, their families like that, have been left without any leaders and orphans as a result of this accident. We know that we have cases of death in the West and but it still comes up anyway, given the fact that they are people and our unfortunate prayers for those who have lost their Thanks for your patience. Thank you so much, sir.
Atembakali mina phela. Niza nama-treats phela ku-24 nina.
Morning, colleagues. Is this hot? I think GCIS is time to get another lantern. Where do you put the speech? Yeah, colleagues, we are about to start. The minister is going to join us now. So whoever is supposed to be live, if you can just get ready. Who's going live, colleagues? Huh? Are you ready? You just need to tell me so that you are able to count us down. Who's going live? Okay. Where is Mr. Maboho? Mr. Maboho? The link, I've been asking for the link. Can I just ask that the media team from transport, if you can just circulate the link in your database, please. Because my phone is now a switchboard, just for the link. not bad with time, colleagues. Only 11 minutes. I'm sure you've seen the worst in terms of time. I can't hear him now. Online questions. So who's handling that? Okay. Olibang. I thought it was you. Okay. Okay. In case I forget, I'll just say Mnari. Is that Roy? Oh, thanks for gracing us with your presence. I normally don't see you in these, especially for road safety. Since the moment I left, then they started relaxing. Might have to go back. Protocol? Oh, there is the CEO at least. Oh, there you go. CEO. CEO. CEO of CBRTA, you are too far for my liking. CEO. We are too far. You need to be somewhere here. You may have to respond to some of the questions. Nothing. Protocol, what's happening? Okay. See, I think you need to find a space somewhere there.
Why don't we move up one and let's just sit on that end because we're all going to speak. Let's all move up one.
Just one up.
One up. Yeah, we all speak on that because otherwise we can have to
Media colleagues, good morning. Distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us this morning. Just to make time. The mic is not working. Yeah. Yes, Alan. Can you hear me?
Is it fine?
Is it fine? Okay. It's time to upgrade GCIS. Okay. All right. I was just saying thanks for making time to join us this morning for such an important item in the diary of transport. So basically, this morning program, we're going to take you through the statement by the minister. But it's not just the statement. Obviously, we would allow the panel that is with the minister to say one or two things. So it's going to be a full program, unlike just the statement that you are used to. So minister is joined on the far right. It would be the chairperson of the RTMC board, Ms. Nomsa Mufumadi. And next to her is obviously the MEC of Gauteng Transport, Ms. Kidiboni Diale Tabela, and then the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee of Transport, Donald Selamulela, and then of course the Minister of Transport, Ms. Barbara Creasy, and the Deputy Minister of Transport. So without much or further ado, so we'd want to start the program with the Deputy Minister in terms of just opening for us, and as a man who's been the soldier, the foot soldier, and at the forefront of leading our road safety campaign.
Thank you very much, Board Colin, Minister, Chairperson, MEC, and Chairperson of the board members, honourable members of Parliament, our transport family whom we've been working with, inclusive of the RTMC, ARTIA, the BMA, SAPS, and the law enforcement family in its entirety. On behalf of the Minister, the Ministry, and the Department, we'd like to welcome all of you this morning to this media briefing where the Minister will be giving the preliminary statistics for the 24-25 festive season insofar as road fatalities are concerned and road accidents, but most importantly on the key interventions moving forward that we will be working on. So it is really much a focus on not just the numbers, because every life lost for us is a life too many. They will be drawing from a lot of the experience and the consultations and the work that has been done. So we welcome you this morning, but also, Minister, maybe must say on behalf of the Department of Transport, happy 2025, and we want to wish you all the best for the year ahead and hopeful for a healthy working relationship insofar as all the work that we need to do. The Minister will give a comprehensive statement, and I'll request that you are patient with her. She goes through all the issues, and then she'll be able to field questions with the colleagues after that. What I must stress, it's not just about the numbers, but it's about the entire ecosystem of travel and transport and the interventions that we need to do. So thank you very much, and once again, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. What I didn't say, we do have the CEO of RTMC, who's joined us, but is not part of the panel. And I guess when there's time for questions, he may have to chip in the direction of the minister. Advocate Msibi is with us, but also there is the CEO of CBRTA, Mr. Mboy, Lwazim Mboy, is also part of the press conference. He may also have to say one or two things during the question and answer session. So at this point, I do want to call the MEC of Gauteng, Diale Hlabela, just to say a few words in terms of representing the shareholders committee and the MECs who are not part of this press conference, but also just to welcome us in your province. MEC.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Minister, Deputy Minister, Chair of the Portfolio Committee, Chair of RTMC, the CEO, the department officials represented here, members of media, and all other stakeholders that we worked with throughout the festive season. I must say that I've been in the portfolio now for about 3 years now, Minister, and I think we did something different, that there was continuous assessment on the work that we did. We met twice in a week as MINMEC. The minister convened us as different MECs, and we're thankful to that because we have seen the hard work done by law enforcement agencies throughout the country and in different parts of our provinces. Of course, yes, the challenge still persists, and I think we need to do more as society, not only as government. And I think we need to start looking at various ways of engaging individuals and community members to deal with this challenge of road fatalities in our country. And we thank you very much, Minister. I think I'm allowed to speak on behalf of other MECs for the direction that you gave us, but also the support that you gave all of us in different provinces through the RTMC and through the deployment of more National Traffic Police to our provinces. We are where we are. Of course, yes, I agree with the Deputy Minister that this is not about numbers. This is about livelihoods that get affected. This is also about our economic growth, because the lives we lost is some very important people, critical individuals that played a critical role in growing our economy. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome you in Gauteng province. I think we are fortunate to be an administrative seat that from time to time will get this opportunity to welcome the ministry and as well as the national leadership that is here. So thank you very much, Program Director. You are all welcomed. Dimzari Bofilo in my language.
Thank you so much, MEC. At this point, I do want to call the watchdog of the transport portfolio, the chairperson of the portfolio committee. If you can just say a few words in terms of your own observations and feedback.
Okay. No, thanks very much. Honorable Minister, greetings to you, the Deputy Minister, Honorable Hlengwa, Meki Diboni, Diale Hlabela, our Honorable MEC here, the Chair of the Board and the CEO, the Director General of the department. I have not seen him. And all the entities that are here, and the senior management from the department, members of the Committee on Road Safety who are here, and our members of the media, friends, compatriots. Allow me to greet you this morning once again in the name of road safety. Honorable Minister, we were with you in December, DM, when we launched. And we are here again as you give feedback to the nation. We are doing this, Honorable Minister, colleagues and compatriots,
to send a message that we are together in this journey and in this war for ensuring that we save our lives on our road. We are here to really communicate that message, that at all material time, when it is the slope goes steep and when it is going down, we'll always be together. Because of the very understanding that we had when you shared with us on the occasion when you came to the parliament through the deputy minister to deliver your strategy, that when we gave it a thumbs up, we said to you that it is our joint responsibility and that we'll mobilize even all members of parliament, to all of them to support this strategy. And for sure you would have seen in all your roadblocks across the country, your MECs all over the country can attest that for the first time, members of parliament from various corners and across all political party divide have been able to join us in this particular campaign to send a message that one life lost is just way too many. We need to take this moment, Honorable Minister, to appreciate our law enforcement officers who have went all out, worked tirelessly throughout the festive season to ensure that they support and deliver on the objectives of the strategy that we had put in place. We must also appreciate the officials who are the backbone of this particular. We have seen the CEO of RTMC, the CEO of CBRT, and all other colleagues putting their hands on deck to ensure that they support all the officials on our roads. We must also appreciate you, Minister, and your Deputy Minister. We have seen you leading from the front in this war. We have seen you with also your support of MECs, the teams, and as Honorable MEC was saying, that you have been meeting every day. From our part, Deputy Minister, we want to really appreciate the fact that you kept us abreast in terms of providing information where there are challenges, but also that as and when we picked issues and we raised them with you, you are speedily responding to them. And I think we need to appreciate that. We must also appreciate, colleagues, all the partners who put their heads on deck, the truck industry, the taxi drivers, who committed when we launched that they'll support the strategy. And we have seen their hands, them being with you throughout the festive season, Honorable Minister. One thing that we must really note it out is that visibility works. And I think as you delve into your issues, into the speech, perhaps that will come out strongly. But RTMC, visibility works, because you would have seen, probably you would have seen that in areas that in terms of your strategy, you identified that these are problematic roads, you are going to be on them. From where I'm seated, we have noted decrease. I don't know if it's qualified because it will come through the speech, if indeed that is correct. But my observation is that where the roads that we have identified as troublesome roads, and you deployed more, the visibility, that visibility and presence worked. And therefore, it says to us, you may need to do more in terms of, I don't know whether in terms of recruitment or whatever way, that you have more and more soldiers on the ground so that we can defeat this particular tendency of recklessness in our roads. Honorable Minister, we're going to have to confront reckless driving head on. What do I mean is that as you'll be looking into how you're going to enforce our laws on reckless driving, you must know we have our support in terms of having to pass the laws if we have to do that. We have negotiated way too many with reckless drivers. We have negotiated way too much with reckless drivers. We can't negotiate anymore. We have been pleading that South Africans, please abide by the law. South Africans, please don't drink and drive. South Africans, we are no longer going to do that. We'll have to toughen our hand. We can't lose life to reckless drivers. We can't continue to lose life to drunken drivers. We can't afford that. We're going to have to toughen the laws, and Honorable Minister, feel free to come to us with proposals. We are ready to pass those particular laws. We are seeing a new tendency of pedestrians dying. You will have to address it. We'll hear from you how you intend to address it. Be assured of our support. I think we are coming to the nation with frown faces now, because we can no longer afford this tendency that we are seeing. We're going to have to toughen our hand, and we are here because we have the tool in our hand, and the tool that we have in our hand is to craft laws. We're going to be crafting laws, supporting you in terms of hardening the hand so that we deliver on the expectation. I don't want to take much of your time, Honorable Minister. We are looking forward to your speech. We are looking forward to you reporting back to the nation and telling us how do you think we can move forward, and with the recommendations, we are ready to support those recommendations from lawmaking point of view. We want to appreciate all of you, members of the media. From where I'm seated, I also want to appreciate the messaging that you have been doing. We have seen your charts. We've been following what you are doing in terms of continuing to send the message of road safety. We appreciate that. It must continue to be all hands on deck. I think road safety must be a daily business. It must be everyday business. We are with you and we support you. We'll continue to be with you, and indeed, compliments for the new season. Let's make 2025 the year of success in road safety. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Chairperson. Tough words indeed. At this point, I would like to request the Minister to address the nation. Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Msebi. Allow me to acknowledge our Deputy Minister of Transport, Mr. Nkululeko Hlengwa. Allow me to acknowledge Gauteng MEC for Roads and Transport, Ms. Kedibone Diale Klabela, the Chairperson of the Transport Portfolio Committee, Mr. Donald Selemolela, the Chairperson of the RTMC Board, Ms. Nomsa Mufumadi, the CEO of the RTMC and also the CEO of CBRITA, other senior managers present today, ladies and gentlemen. As we report back to the nation on the 24-25 festive season road safety campaign and share with you the preliminary data that we have collected, it is important to stress right at the outset that this country of ours has a very, very long way to go in reducing fatalities and accidents on our roads. As if the news reports of terrible crashes and the resultant deaths and injuries day in and day out over the festive season were not enough. The statistics which we are releasing today tell all of us that South African road users continue to disobey the laws of the road with no regard for human life. That has and continues to have the most tragic consequences. At the launch of the festive season road safety campaign on the 1st of December, we said we were aiming to change driver behavior, enhance our law enforcement actions, and worked with civil society groups and faith-based organizations who helped to spread the road safety message in their communities and to ensure that all road users were aware of their roles and responsibilities and the impacts of their actions. Ladies and gentlemen, our traffic law enforcement officers conducted more than 997 roadblocks throughout the country over the festive season. These roadblocks were joint operations between local, provincial and national traffic police authorities, the South African Police Services, and also included other law enforcement agencies such as the Border Management Authority and the Cross-Border Traffic Authority. To give you a sense of the appalling lack of respect for traffic laws, I want to share a few important numbers with you so that we get to understand the seriousness of the problem we are facing. Our enforcement officers over 1.5 months issued 711,000 traffic fines for various offences. 23,000 fines were issued to drivers who didn't wear seatbelts. It's a no-brainer to wear a seatbelt. 16,000 motorists were fined for using their cell phones. 16,000 vehicles were found to be unroadworthy. And they were issued with fines, and their motor vehicle license discs were removed, particularly in areas where vehicles could not be impounded due to lack of proper impoundment facilities. It must, however, be emphasized that in total, 8,900 vehicles were impounded in areas where facilities were available. These are unroadworthy vehicles that were taken off the authority and the cross-border traffic authority. To give you a sense of the appalling lack of respect for traffic laws, I want to share a few important numbers with you so that we get to understand the seriousness of the problem we are facing. Our enforcement officers, over 1.5 months, issued 711,000 traffic fines for various offences. 23,000 fines were issued to drivers who didn't wear seatbelts. It's a no-brainer to wear a seatbelt. 16,000 motorists were fined for using their cell phones. 16,000 vehicles were found to be unroadworthy. And they were issued with fines, and their motor vehicle license discs were removed, particularly in areas where vehicles could not be impounded due to lack of proper impoundment facilities. It must, however, be emphasized that in total, 8,900 vehicles were impounded in areas where facilities were available. These are unroadworthy vehicles that were taken off the roads. The joint operations carried out over the festive season were in line with the focus areas: vehicle roadworthiness, public passenger transport, permits, drunken driving, execution of warrants and arrests, and speed law enforcement. To clamp down on drunken driving and speeding, our officers arrested 9,500 motorists, of whom 3,840 were arrested for being drunk on our roads. A total of 414 drivers were arrested for driving at high speed, 5 of them for driving in excess of 200 kilometers per hour. The highest speedster was arrested in Gauteng, driving at 245 kilometers an hour in a BMW sedan on the N1 near Honeydew on the 18th of December. On behalf of the National Department of Transport, provincial MECs and their departments, and all law enforcement agencies, I take this opportunity to call on the courts to treat these cases where we have made arrests with the necessary seriousness. There must be consequences for drivers who break the law with wanton disregard for the lives of others, whether it is for speeding, drunk driving, or any other offense that warrants arrest. With regards to fatalities and crashes, Tragically, South Africa witnessed 1,502 deaths, resulting from 1,234 fatal crashes during this festive season. I want to convey our heartfelt condolences to every family who has lost a loved one during this season, and I also want to convey our well wishes to the many thousands of people who are still in hospital recovering from their injuries. The number of fatalities represents a year-on-year increase of 5.3%, or 70 deaths, compared with last year's season, and 4.2, or in numerical terms, a 50 increase in the number of crashes that involved fatalities. This is most regrettable because it reverses the incremental strides made in recent years. 6 provinces reported increases in the number of fatalities, namely KwaZulu-Natal, the Eastern Cape, Free State, Limpopo, Northern Cape, and Northwest. The Eastern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, and the Free State recorded increases of 70, 54, and 21 fatalities as compared with the previous year. Gauteng, Western Cape, and Mpumalanga recorded decreases of 76, 23, and 15 fatalities respectively. I want to commend the provincial MECs and particularly the MEC of Gauteng, who's with us today, for the efforts that have yielded positive results. But I also want to commend all MECs and indeed all national and provincial enforcement agencies, officers, road safety personnel, emergency services personnel, professionals, and of course, members of parliament, led by our chairperson, who worked very long hours, sacrificing their own family time, and did their utmost to help us save lives of all of us. You have heard that myself, the Deputy Minister, all MECs and our respective officials in the road traffic management corporations met every 3 to 4 days over the 6-week period. And we met so that we could assess what was happening, where problems were arising, so that we could take immediate intervention to redeploy resources. And it was these meetings that led to increased activity on secondary routes. We found that drivers were moving onto secondary routes to avoid the enforcement operations on the 20 priority routes. We ourselves moved to the secondary routes. We found that at a particular point in time, there were many pedestrian deaths happening in cities as a result of partying and festivities. We moved forces onto patrolling those routes to try and prevent those deaths. And we do believe that that flexibility helped us to prevent an even worse outcome. Ladies and gentlemen, pedestrian fatalities remain a huge concern. 41%, or almost half of all road fatalities, are pedestrians. The highest percentage of pedestrian fatalities is in the big urban centers of Gauteng, Western Cape, and KwaZulu-Natal. Gauteng had the highest pedestrian fatality rate at 63%, followed by Western Cape at 53% and KwaZulu-Natal at 44%. And our message to pedestrians is clear. You cannot walk on highways. You should not consume alcohol and walk along secondary roads. To ensure that you are visible at night, you have to wear light-colored clothing. And the only safe place to cross a road is at a pedestrian crossing or on a bridge. Ladies and gentlemen, these preliminary statistics are deeply disturbing, but the numbers on paper don't tell us anything about the human story, about the tragedies which struck so many families across our country, and about the pain they currently endure at losing a loved one. All the more disturbing is the fact that most crashes and deaths are as a result of human error. Our research indicates that 87% of crashes occurred because of human error. This includes hit and runs, jaywalking, fatigue, loss of control over vehicles, speeding, drunken driving, and of course reckless overtaking. I want to say this very clearly, loudly, so that we as South Africans hear. All of us have to change our behavior on the roads. The number of people who died on our roads this festive season has increased because people continued to behave badly. In spite of our pleas and our warnings and our efforts to clamp down, as you have heard, on irresponsible behavior. As we said at the beginning of this festive season, our government and our law enforcement agencies can only do so much. The statistics clearly tell all of us, drivers and pedestrians have to change their behavior. We have to obey the law. We have to obey the basic rules of the road. I have asked provinces to conduct a detailed analysis of their respective statistics and to come up with a clear plan on the way forward. And we are going to convene on the 31st of January, and we're going to plan for how we are going to work together for the rest of 2025. Obviously, we're going to continue to direct our efforts at changing the behavior of road users. Where necessary, we will continue together with SANRAL to invest in designing and engineering safer roads, enforcing speed limits, and enhancing emergency response systems and access to quality trauma care to ensure that we save lives. What we know is that if you can reduce response times to an accident scene, those who have survived have a better chance in the longer term. Indications are that the implementation of 24/7 traffic policing shifts, particularly over weekends, is more critical than ever. During the festive season, we agreed to release our national traffic police resources to provinces, and we believe that we need to look at a plan to continue with the deployment of national traffic police to provinces during critical weekends throughout the year. Part of what we will have to do before our meeting on the 31st of January is to look at our budgets and our resources and consider what is possible. I want to extend my appreciation to the public transport leadership, particularly Santaco and NTA, the leaders of numerous religious organizations, the private sector who greatly assisted us in educating public transport operators, and the public at large, all of whom helped us to improve road safety. Education and awareness will remain a critical pillar of our operations going forward. I want to thank the Deputy Minister and the MECs for taking charge and assisting in ensuring that the road safety campaign was conducted across the different levels of government, enabling us to share data and resources. In conclusion, we do remain steadfast in our commitment to confront lawlessness and dangerous driving. I want to appeal to motorists to exercise care and patience on our roads, but I want those who break the law to understand that we will be working ever closer and closer with our law enforcement agencies to make sure that those of you who do transgress the laws face enforcement measures and there will be no way out. Let's work together to make our roads safer. Let's change behavior. Let's save lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. What you didn't say is these meetings were happening on Fridays when you're about to hit the nightlife, and then there's a meeting at 6:30. And she's been very consistent. I think it's the first time. I've been in transport for quite a while, but I must say it's been the first time during the festive season where we've had so many reporting and accounting meetings. And I think our road safety campaign is in good hands. So at this point, I do want to move to the question and answer session. You know the drill. We're going to take about 3 questions per set. We'll take 3 sets starting now. So by show of hands, if you could just introduce yourself and the news service you represent. Can I just see hands? But we've also got the live streaming and the online questions as well. We will take those. So I'm noticing hands, 1 hand here, and 1 second one. Can I see a 3rd one? I'm surprised Roy is quiet. Okay, there's a 3rd one there. All right, we'll start right here. Please, if you can introduce yourself, ENC.
Use your shop steward voice.
Okay, Smindelo Masirane from ENCA. I mean, okay, so clearly the road safety campaign itself was a failure, would you say? Because if I remember correctly, it was called Every Day Without a Road There, but we had about 16 potholes everywhere, traffic lights don't work, and to an extent, there seems to be a failure on this department's part to maintain the roads. Thank you.
So much, Tikula. You can introduce yourself, please. Use your shop steward.
Patrick O'Leary, editor of Fleet Touch magazine. And I'm hearing a lot of accolades to joint ventures and joint working together, but all I'm seeing is an increase in deaths and accidents. I'm seeing the same old. I don't know if Mr. Minister, I don't know if we're waiting till January to hear something different in going forward, because I'm not hearing anything different, and if we do the same old, nothing's going to change. So do we wait till January for the meeting that you're having, that you've said, to find some different way forward that will implement and lead to change? Because if we use the same things, nothing's going to change, and as you outlined, nothing is changing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. At that hand, I think it was somewhere there. Okay. No, it's just those two, Minister. We'll just take your responses at this time, or you can delegate someone.
I think anybody can talk about her road maintenance.
Okay.
So the first issue is, to what do we attribute the increase in road fatalities? We attribute the increase in road fatalities to reckless behavior by drivers and by pedestrians. I think that if you go through the statistics on what government did, given the resource constraints that we have, there is very little more that we could have done. We made sure that on all the major roads that carry the bulk of the traffic, we had policing around the clock. Instead of drivers feeling safe, they decanted onto roads where they could misbehave without getting caught. So we moved the operations onto those roads. So I think that if you want to change behavior, you're not going to change behavior in 6 weeks. You have to change behavior with consistent enforcement and consistent education. So at the time when we implemented the public education campaign over media and over radio, it was a long time since the Department of Transport had done things like that. I don't have the figures on me, but there's about a 2% increase in the number of vehicles and the number of drivers per year. So that tells you how many drivers would have come into our system since the last time we were doing consistent public education. There's no substitute for that, and there's no substitute for consistent enforcement. I've taken the opportunity during this time and before, when we were designing the road safety campaign, to educate myself about what is the primary cause of accidents in our country. It's not the state of our roads, it's driver behavior. What actions have been undertaken in other countries that have produced results and got the death rate down? And there's only one word which seems to be common to all of those countries, and that is the question of consistency. So if we think that we can have a big campaign over the festive season, and that big campaign is going to change behavior of all the millions of drivers in our country, I think that's a false expectation. The only way we're going to change behavior is through consistent education and consistent enforcement. And it is that lack of consistency that we have to be self-critical about, and we have to recognize has led us to the current place where we are. So we can't be throwing up our hands and saying, oh, there's nothing we can do. We've tried everything. We can't do that. We have to say that if you want people to change, you have to be consistent. One of the interesting examples is what they did in Australia. So in Australia, they didn't start depriving people of their driving licenses or giving them criminal records. They gave them fines, hefty fines. And they had a slogan. There's two ways you can avoid the fine. You can go on to another world, or you can leave the country. There's no other way you can avoid paying the fine. That's what we have to implement here. We have that point when you have to pay your fine. It's when you go to renew your car license or when you go to renew your driving license. That's what we've got to tighten up on. Because my view is what we all care about is the pocket. And if we hit the pocket consistently and hard enough, even the most stubborn of us is going to start to say, how can I stop this pain? We have to take action in our major urban centers against people who walk on highways. I'm aware that many of those people are from extremely disadvantaged communities, but unfortunately, those accidents that occur on our highways kill pedestrians and they kill drivers. You cannot have vehicles traveling at 120 kilometers an hour and there is somebody wandering in and out of that traffic, because even if the driver were to see the pedestrian, they would not be able to slow down in time. And so we've agreed with the MEC that we will be putting our National Traffic Police onto the highways in Gauteng so that we get this massive 60% of road fatalities in Gauteng pedestrian death rate down. It's an absolute necessity. MEC, would you like to talk about your road maintenance?
Thank you very much, Minister. I think we have been working hard. I know that it's quite challenging, and you'd remember that during summer and during the festive season we experience high rains, and we have alerted people of Gauteng. Maybe perhaps NCA, one of the things you can assist us with is to publicize our pothole fix GP app, so that, including yourself, maybe you can download it so that as and when you see a pothole, you are able to report it immediately so that you are able to respond to that. But otherwise, Minister, we're trying to work hard with our municipalities to make sure that we fix our road network. On our 4,500 kilometers as provincial road network, we're working on it on a daily basis. And we also are encouraging municipalities to work on their own road network. But our app, if you lay a complaint through our app, we are able to assist municipalities in that regard. I know that Sanral is also assisting us, and thanks very much, Minister, in some of the municipal roads, like for instance, here in Tshwane, in Mamelodi, Sanral is working on about 4 or 5 roads there, just to do rehabilitation on municipal roads. But otherwise, on provincial roads, we are doing our best to maintain them. And we plead with society to use the app and the call center to report those potholes where you see there's a need for grasses, and we'll be able to respond. We are working 24 hours, 7 days a week to make sure that our road network is well maintained. Thank you very much.
Thank you, MSC. Can you take a second set? Questions? Show of hands. Is this a follow-up? So we'll start with you, and then there's one here, and then at the back, in that order.
Yes, thank you. Sorry, and this is not a mischievous question. Mrs. Minister, since 1994 we've had 11, I think you're the 12th Minister of Transport. Now, if you put it in plans, they need sustainability. We've seen things in place, and then the next minister comes. How long are you going to stay in as Minister of Transport? To make sure the plans that are put in
Ask the
are
President
going
that
to be
question.
there. Please, and that's not a mischievous question. Last time, just when I learned to pronounce the surname of the minister, as I learned that he left. So please, it's a serious question. We need sustainability. There's not been that sustainability.
Okay, thank you. We'll take the second one here.
Okay, thank you. My name is Calvin Duga. I work for SABC News. Clearly, it shows, as in the said earlier, it shows that your operations and campaigns, Minister, didn't work. It didn't provide you with what you were expecting. So we are going to the Easter holidays. People will be going home for holidays. And what I want to ask you is that what is new that you will do? Last year I was covering most of your operations. You were saying people must obey the road rules and everything, but it seems as if what you are saying does not make sense to them. They are not heeding at all. What is new that you will come up with now? Because your plan it seems as if it's failing.
Thank you. And then the last one at the back.
Good morning, Minister. I'm Anita Fincher from Drive More Safety, a non-profit organization. So you brought Project Edward.
Okay, wait. Which news service?
No, not from news service.
Okay, no, we're taking. We can engage with you on the side. It's a press conference, so we can engage with you on the side. We only speak to media at the moment. Any other question? Okay, Minister, do you want to delegate, or you'll take those?
Patrick, everywhere I go, I get told I'm the 12th Minister of Transport. All I can tell you is, while I'm here, I will do what is my public duty to do, just as I've done in every other portfolio that I've had. I can't rule from the grave. But what I hope is that by working collectively with the Road Traffic Management Corporation, with the MECs, with everybody else, that we will find that a consistent mode of operation gives results. And from those learnings, I hope that those who come after me will feel that those are good things to do because they have good results. But there's nothing I can do when I'm gone. When I'm gone, I'm gone. Calvin, you see, there's only one way to prove that there's no effect in what I'm doing. And that's for us to spend a festive season and do nothing. And then we can see, by doing nothing, is there a 30% increase in deaths, a 40% increase in deaths, a 50% increase in deaths? Would that make you happy? Because then you would have the scientific proof that you're looking for. The fact that every year in this country we have between 11 and 12,000 deaths on our roads is proof that when we don't patrol our roads, we have a problem. So I can't invent something that's never been invented before. But what I can do is to be consistent and to try and introduce the measures that we've been introducing during this time on a consistent basis. Let me give you examples. We know that the majority of accidents happen between 6 o'clock in the evening and 1 o'clock in the morning, with a peak in that period between 10 at night and 1 o'clock in the morning. We also know that with the current shift system in our road traffic management system, that is the period when officers are not on the roads. So what is that problem about? It's a money problem. So part of what we're trying to work with provinces and municipalities is what we call the flexi shift, so that we can get officers onto the road from Friday evening until Monday morning on a consistent basis, so that there is that visibility, because visibility definitely has that traffic calming impact. But also, of course, if officers are on the road and somebody comes past at 245 kilometers an hour, they can give chase and apprehend that person. Public education has got to involve all aspects of society. We found some really interesting things happening during this festive season. There was a particular point in the Free State when we found out that young men were graduating from initiation schools, and the initiation schools had taken a decision that these young men will be released at 3 o'clock in the morning, and they will walk along a national highway to where they came from. And in previous years, these young men celebrating their graduation had been knocked over on that national highway. So we were able to sit down with the relevant traditional authorities and talk about how do we make sure that if, in terms of your requirements, you do need to release these people at 3 a.m., how do we help you? And we actually shepherded them home. So this is what I think is required. We have to go and sit down. We know the hotspots in Gauteng where people are crossing highways at night. We have to go and sit down with the ward councillor and the community, and we have to discuss how do we prevent this from happening. Why is it when there is a pedestrian bridge, people don't use it? How do we ensure that the community help us to make sure that people use it? So it doesn't just require consistency. What it requires is a level of micromanagement, understanding where the hotspots are. And I think that's been very helpful about this campaign, is the recording of the hotspots. And then being able to drill into those hotspots and say what intervention will prevent accidents and fatalities in this particular situation. But we are also going to have to work with all formations that have a public voice. Because, unfortunately, there's a vast number of these fatal crashes that are what I call having an accident with yourself. You and your friends go out drinking. You get behind a steering wheel when you've had 2 bottles of whiskey. The vehicle goes out of control on a dark road. You and your friends leave this earth. That's a behavioral issue. And it's not a behavioral, we know these issues, these behavioral issues are what result in a whole number of social problems in our society. Unfortunately, one of the implications of being in government is you can't get tired of dealing with issues. You've got to deal with them over and over and over again until you get results. That's what I intend to do.
Thank you, Minister. Can we then go online? Do we have any questions, Lebo? Okay. All right, can we just take the last set if there's any other questions before we close? Looks like there isn't any other questions. What I would suggest, colleagues, those who are going to take the what you call the live, what is it called now, Minari? The one-on-one? You remain where you are, because I'm going to detain the minister here so that there isn't too much commotion of movement of people. So whatever live crossing, if there's any live crossing that will happen, it has to happen right here. So we'll detain the minister here. So at this point, I'm known for putting people on the spot. And unfortunately, I'm going to do that to you, Chairperson of the board, just for the vote of thanks from you, closing for us. I'm putting you on the spot. I'm known for that. So if you can.
I didn't know that, but...
if you can just...
Oh, okay. Minister of Transport, Ms. Barbara Chrissy, Deputy Minister, Kulego Hlengwa, Minister of Portfolio Committee, as well as the MEC.